When Jesus was crucified, they stripped him. They mocked him. They pulled the beard out of his face. They spit on him. You already know by now that they put thorns in his hands, nails in his hands, nails in his feet. But the last thing they did to Jesus was put a crown of thorns on his head. And I want you to understand, they did not place the crown on his head. They crushed it. And after they crushed that crown of thorns on his head, then they twisted it so that blood would begin coming down so that Jesus wasn't able to see. Researchers found that the crown of thorns left 13 wounds on his forehead. I need you to hear this. The crown left 20 holes in the back of his head. The crown was made up of 71-inch thorns. Each thorn was 1 inch, and it was 70 of them. So they knew that they would inflict pain, hear this, by putting a lot of little things on his head. 71-inch nails. Why in the world is the crown necessary when I'm already bleeding out of my side? I can barely breathe. I'm doing all that I can to hoist myself up on that cross. I'm now paralyzed because my legs are now twisted one on top of the other. I can no longer feel my upper torso because I've got nails, hear this, they're not really in my hands, they're in my wrist, so that my whole upper body is paralyzed. I want to say this, and not too many of you are going to shout, not too many of you are going to respond, but I need you to hear my heart, is that messing with Jesus's body was not the intention. They didn't care anything about his physical body. They put the crown of thorns on his head and twisted it in hopes that one of the thorns would prick his brain. The intention of the enemy, God, I can't hear nobody, was to make Jesus lose his mind. I don't know where you are, but what you've been dealing with over the last 3 years, the enemy been trying to do everything to make you go crazy. That's why your grandmother used to taunt the enemy when she woke up. She said, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. You sure? You want to be king? When the enemy will spend most of his energy trying to make you lose your mind. God, I can't hear nobody. With all the trauma that you've been through, you should be seething like a mad dog. Your eyes should be in the back of your head. I can't hear nobody in here. You should be drinking every day. You should be popping pills before 9 o'clock. You should be in a therapist twice a week. You should be journaling at the end of every day. But God said, if you can hear my voice, the reason why you know you are supposed to be king is not because of the car you drive. It's not because of the house you live in. But if you've been through many dangers, toils, and snares, and you still got your mind, would you give God glory that I'm still thinking straight? I still know who I am. I still haven't lost myself. God said, give him glory for your right mind.